Okay, day 22 of the 30-day yapping challenge. I'll tell you something strange that happened. Yesterday, I had a dream that I was reading the Bible, the book of Job, and so I woke up and I decided, let's just read the book of Job. And up until recently, I have not been able to wake up any time before 9 o'clock. I was waking up at 2. I wasn't really praying. I definitely wasn't reading. And for some reason, yesterday I read, today I'm up at 7. Not even tired. Couldn't go back to sleep. Coincidence? I don't know. But we're going back to Job because it was interesting. Where we left off, he just got cooked, and he said, "It is what it is." He didn't sin, nor charge God foolishly. Now, right there, when it says that he didn't charge God foolishly, a lot of people think that if he would have charged God foolishly, that God would have killed him. But in reality, I feel like, well, in the Old Testament, yeah, he probably would have died. But anyways, chapter 2, it says Satan's second request of God. He came back twice. All right. It says, again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came along with them to present himself before the Lord. They're having the assembly. Everybody's pulling up, presenting themselves to God. Look at me. I'm here. And the Lord said unto Satan, so all these sons of God come to God. We're calling on Satan again. He says, Satan, where are you coming from? And Satan says, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Didn't even bring up Job. Who? I was just walking around, hanging around. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? You know, it makes me wonder, maybe Satan was thinking of Job the whole time. Or did the Lord throw him under the bus? Because it looked like Satan was just walking around, and he just finished doing what God told him he could do. He gave him express written consent to screw up his life. Satan says, have you considered my servant Job? That there is none like him in the earth. So he's rubbing it in. He says, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God, and escheweth evil, and still he holdeth fast his integrity. Although thou movest me against him, to destroy him without cause. I feel like the cause was that you had brought him up the other day. Anyways, God is rubbing it in his face. He says, look, man, you killed his family. You made him broke. And he still loves me. What an idiot. No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. But it is crazy. It says, although Satan moved God against man. Okay? And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin. Yeah, all that a man hath will he give for his life. So Satan's like, okay, I see you trying to yeah, if you told me that that you were gonna kill me unless you killed my family, my all my riches and everything, yeah, I'll take my life over all that. I feel like that's bad logic. I feel like a guy like Job would probably allow himself to die before his 10 children, but Satan's just throwing anything out there. He says, put forth thine hand now. Hey, God, cook him again. Refry him like some damn beans. Touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. So, in the previous chapter, he also said a similar thing. Turns out Satan was capping. Why God didn't kill him at this point? Because he's claiming to know the future and he doesn't. That's beyond me. But Satan gets a second chance. The Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is thine. Put Job directly in the hands of Satan. Why? Well, I guess we needed a good story. I don't know. It says, immediately. It says, so Job went forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his feet to the crown of his head, from the ruta to the tuta, from head to toe. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. So that's how quick it happens, bruh. Seven to 1, bruh. 7 to 2. 7 verses to 2 verses. So he just lost his whole family, all his money, and he was like the greatest in the East. All of a sudden, all of his children are dead. He's broke, and all of a sudden he's got sores. So he goes and he takes some stuff, and he's just like scratching his sores with it because they hurt. I just imagine seeing him on the side of the road, completely speechless. What would you even say to him? Like, hey man, are you all right? You don't look good. Anyways, it says, then his wife said unto him, dost thou still retain thy integrity? Look at you. Then she says, curse God and die. Now, a lot of people look at Job's wife, my family, especially on my dad's side, and they say, wow, what a terrible wife. But I mean, looking at it, the dude is already pretty much dead. She's like, why don't you just seal the deal and call it donezo? It's a solution. You know, the book would only be 2 chapters if he ever did that, so he obviously didn't do it. But I don't think she's evil for saying that. It definitely adds sting to the whole operation when you're trying to not go to hell for eternity. I don't think Job was actually doing that. I think he actually was trying to do the right thing. He was actually in there. He was in the heat. But shout out Job's wife. She didn't leave him. She didn't go to the strip club, you know. She's there actually pulling out solutions. Wasn't the greatest solution, but she was there. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. You're talking crazy. You're talking dumb. He says, what? Shall we receive good at the hand of God? And shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips. He's like, listen, we're talking about God, the creator of everything. If he can give us good, obviously he can give us bad. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Job sounds insane. But that's because I live in this current material world where I don't really understand his level of suffering that switched his brain into spiritual mode. He's already out of here. He's not even, he's I'm on another level. You sound stupid to me. But he's right. If God created everything, that would include evil. Now, on a cosmic scale, I think the way that works is that there's a spectrum. And the more good is created, the more light there is, the brighter it can possibly be. Mathematically speaking, the darkness would be at an equal opposite. And all of that structure would be God. Or something like that. Now we're going to talk about the friends of Job. It says, now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came, everyone from his own place. Let's pull up on them, man. Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. And they had made an appointment together to come mourn with him and comfort. And when they had lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, what the hell is that in the distance? They lifted up their voice and wept. Oh, fuck! That's Job. And they rent everyone his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their head toward the heaven. And they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. Seven days not saying a word, bruh. I've seen that before. You ever been sitting by somebody that was so upset that that if you said anything, it would probably make them more upset? Yeah. Imagine what kind of grief he would have been in to where you internally know that you got it. So, that's chapter 2, man. This guy, it's not looking too good for Job, but he seems distraught. Because at least right now, he's not trying to figure out why. He just assumes, well, this is God, which is the correct assumption. They got a whole two meetings about him in an invisible realm. He doesn't know this. He's just sitting there. Taking it. If that were me, I would be in my Google Notes app writing all sorts of blasphemy. Who knows? But that's chapter 2. I was inspired to go back into it because it's very readable. I could probably read more chapters. And I might do it on camera. I might do some off camera. But I feel like we're doing pretty good. I'm happy that I'm up at 7 o'clock. Yeah. Additionally, what I wanted to talk about is being quiet, which is something I am experiencing some difficulty in. I'm telling people things that I should not. But I don't really know, because I don't know where the problem could exist. I heard about these things called monitoring spirits, and also people that you should watch out for that really don't have your best interest at heart, but they seem like they do. I don't really know who those people are, but and I don't really like to keep a watchful eye over people that it seems like you shouldn't. But nevertheless, I do have my eyes open for the simple fact that my story has just begun. Or the good part has just begun. So, yeah. It's not really yapping if I use most of the video to read the Bible, huh? Well, I didn't really have much else to say. Thank you for tuning in, and you have a blessed day. They say don't say blessed, because it says you're telling yourself to be less. That's my outro music.